Hello, welcome back. We are going to work on lesson 1-3. This one is titled It's About Accumulation, and it's all about using multiplication and division skills. So at the bottom of page 35 is where the classwork starts, and they do walk us through an example once we get through number 1 that we're going to talk a little more about. Number 1 actually wants us to think of situations where you might use multiplication in your lives. You might use multiplication when you're calculating interest on a bank account or a car loan or a mortgage. You might use it when you're buying multiple items of the same price. So those are some places you could use multiplication. And you can think of other ones. I'm sure you have other ideas as well. So we have an example of someone who is purchasing coffee at Starbucks. And this regular cup of coffee costs $2.45. They buy 2 cups every day. So they're talking about how to calculate how much they would pay in a 3-day weekend, and then how much they would pay for the entire year if they did that every day of the year. So this solution has worked out for you already. They do calculate the one for the entire year, and we're going to circle that because we are going to need to reference that on the next page. So if you bought 2 cups of coffee every day for 365 days a year at $2.45 a cup, your total you spend for the year would be $1,788.50. On the next page, they say, all right, we're going to go somewhere a little cheaper. How much would our coffee drinkers save over the course of the year if they buy their coffee at their friendly neighborhood convenience store where it's only $1.49 a cup? The arithmetic is going to be very similar to what you saw on the bottom here, except our cost is going to be replaced with $1.49. So we are going to take $1.49 times 2, because it's 2 per day, times 365 days per year, and find out how much they would spend if they were buying this cheaper coffee. So let's get out our calculators and put in $1.49 times 2 cups of coffee a day times 365 days a year. Our coffee drinker is going to spend $1,087.70. So we'll write that down here. When we see the 0.7, we can assume that is 0.70 in terms of money. In the previous example, they were going to spend $1,788.50. So we're going to take that number and subtract our cheaper number from it. So let's do this in a different color. We're going to take the 1,788.50 and subtract what we just got here, the 1,087.70. And we can again do that on our calculator. So the $1,788.50 minus the $1,087.70. The difference is $700.80. So by buying slightly cheaper coffee, we can save a lot of money. So moving on, they do give us some examples in orange boxes. These are great for extra practice, so you could do that. We're going to switch gears, and in number 3, we're going to talk about Tommy and Gina, who are saving for retirement. They start out by depositing $1,000 into an account, and they're going to deposit $100 into the account each month for the next 20 years. How much will they have deposited into the account at the end of 20 years? So we know they're starting out with $1,000. We also know they're spending $100 per month. So each year they're putting in 100 times 12. And then how many years are we depositing this money for? Well, they told me in the problem 20. So I'm also going to multiply that by 20 so I get all 20 years. And I'm going to do that in my calculator. I'm depositing $100, 12 months a year for 20 years. And we have that we will have deposited $24,000. And then we have to add to that the initial $1,000 payment they made. So we're going to add $1,000 to that. And we get that we will have deposited at the end of 20 years, $25,000. That's a good amount of money. Number 4 says, when you're trying to save money, it can help motivate you to calculate how much money accumulates little by little. We're going to help them with these calculations by filling in the table below, assuming we stick with $100 per month and the initial deposit of $1,000. So after 1 month, they have the initial $1,000 they invested, plus the $100 they put in that first month. So they have a total of $1,100. My dollar sign looks funny, I apologize for that. After 1 year, we still start with that initial $1,000. Then we have added the $100 12 times. So we will have a total of $2,200. After 5 years, we still start with that initial $1,000 plus $100 times 12 months, but now I need to multiply that by 5 years, which gives me $7,000. And the last one is the halfway point. When they've done 10 years, again, we still start with the $1,000, the initial deposit, $100 for 12 months, but this time instead of 5 years, it's 10 years. And when we put that into our calculator, we do get that we are at $13,000. Five asks us, what if we change that $100, and we're going to change that to $125? So let's figure out how much they would have if they deposited $125 instead for 20 years. So again, we're starting with that $1,000 initial deposit. And now I'm putting in $125 per year. So times 12 months times 20. Let's go ahead and practice that one in our calculator. So I'm going to take my $1,000 initial deposit plus $125 per month, and then for 20 years. You'll notice that you can either use parentheses on the calculator or you can use the times button. So in this case, we would have $31,000 if we invested 125 instead of 100. How much more is that than we had before? Well, we're going to take 31,000 minus 25,000. And you'll see that we actually have an extra $6,000 by just increasing it to 125. They do show you a little bit, if you like spreadsheets, they start to show you some spreadsheet information, so you can kind of learn how to use your spreadsheet a little bit. And then on page 37 starts the group work that you'll do in class. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'm going to stop my recording.